Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Royal College Minority Cell, I, Ikra Sheikh from SYPSC, welcome all the dignitaries of our college, our esteemed guests, staff Mavis, our respected teachers, and dear student friends. It's my privilege to introduce the guest speaker of the session. We have with us one of our star alumna, Ms. Tak Mavis, an ordinary girl with an extraordinary effort who succeeded in making her dreams come true. Ms. Mavis completed her college education from Royal College in Arts stream. As student, also she was highly focused and academically bright. She completed her graduation in BA Political Science. She was the recipient of prize for academic excellence for continuous 3 years of graduation. In 2018, she completed her PG in Political Science from University of Mumbai. Then she started her preparation to crack the UPSC examination. She appeared for the exams in 2021 and cleared her final examination, securing an All India rank of 386 in UPSC examination. Today we have gathered to listen to her on a journey towards her success. Now, I hand over the session to Ms. Tak Mavis to tell us about what inspired her to appear for the UPSC, how she started her preparation, what hurdles she faced during her preparations, and what was her secret of success. Now, I request Ma'am Mavis to take over the session.
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes, Mavis.
Good evening everyone, respected Zainab ma'am and all the teachers of Royal College, and a very pleasant hello to all the students who have gathered here in order to listen to this talk. I am first of all very much thankful to Royal College and the teachers who have all organized this particular talk. I am really feeling honored that I am given an opportunity to speak in this session today. So, good evening again, and I will begin from a very start as to when I first thought or when did the seed of my career as a civil servant was sown. So, since very early on in my childhood, my father used to inspire me that becoming an administrator will give you an opportunity to serve people, to serve the society in a way that he wanted to serve. He wanted to like become an administrator himself, but he could not due to several reasons. So he saw this dream within us, and hence he inspired me and my sister to take up IAS or UPSC examination as a career. So, with his motivation and inspiration from a very beginning in my childhood, I had this dream of becoming a civil servant. But the background from which I hail is very humble. So, belonging to a humble background, becoming an IAS or an IPS officer was definitely a dream, which definitely was not impossible. But then, given my background, it was a little difficult because there were financial constraints, there were constraints related to our environment and surroundings because I was born in a very small town in Rajasthan. It was not even a town at that point of time. हम उसे एक कस्बा बोलते थे क्योंकि वो ज्यादा डेवलप नहीं था, काफी उसमें रूरल फीचर्स भी थे. फालना नाम था उस कस्बे का. So I was born in that town where educational opportunities were very limited. There was one good school जहाँ पर मेरे पेरेंट्स ने एनरोल किया. So from the very start, my parents were very serious about my education and my sister's education, and I was fortunate enough to have such wonderful parents throughout my life. Uh, and then I was enrolled in a school. It was Noble School in Parna. I remember me crossing the tracks with my grandparents, with my parents, in order to reach that school. काफी फाइनेंशियल कॉन्स्ट्रेंट्स उसी दौरान जो है हमें फेस करने पड़ते थे. फॉर एग्जांपल नई बुक्स लाना भी हमारे लिए एक बहुत ही चैलेंजिंग टास्क होता था. नई यूनिफॉर्म्स हम कई बार नहीं ले पाते थे. एक ही यूनिफॉर्म कई सालों तक चलानी पड़ती थी. आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट this was something bad, but I'm just saying that I belong to such an humble background, and then dreaming about becoming an IAS officer and an IPS officer is possible. It's just that if you have supporting family, then definitely you can dream big. If your family is not supportive, that adds an additional challenge. But in my case, my family was very supportive, and I was fortunate enough about that. So after completing the second standard from Rajasthan itself, I went. We my family settled to Mira Road. Okay. After that, I got enrolled in a very. I had to drop out for 1 year because my family could not afford my education. So in my third class, I dropped out of school because of financial constraints. And then there is one very small school near Hadri Chowk, if you might have seen the board of that school. That is St. John School. That is the school where I studied till my 10th standard. I gave my 10th board from a school in Bhinder, Navgar, because of the fact that in St. John School, 10th ka board bhi nahi tha. Yani, the board had not given approval to that school in order to give the board examination. So the school in which I studied was very dilapidated. I'm sharing this particular thing in order to show that you do not have to study in very high-fi schools or very much what we say uh, famous schools in order to dream big. You can dream big even if you hail from a very humble background and your school is not up to the mark as far as the academic standards is concerned. So the school, the St. John School in which I studied till 10th standard, I had to be on my own because the teaching quality was not good. The infrastructure was not up to the mark क्योंकि कुछ फ्लैट्स रेजिडेंशियल फ्लैट्स लेकर ही उसमें जो है स्कूल्स ओपन कर दी थी. एक क्लास में 2 स्टैंडर्ड्स बैठा करते थे एक रूम में. और आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर प्रिसाइजली दैट जो लेबोरेटरी थी मेरे स्कूल की, उस लेबोरेटरी में टूटा हुआ झूमर रखा हुआ था. तो despite all these things, I had this desire to gain knowledge in order to learn new things, to study on my own, and with the support of my parents in my education and in my academic path, I could study well and I secured about 77% in 10th standard. After that, I would say when I entered Royal College in my 11th standard in FIJC, that was the time, that was the first time when I had an exposure to quality education. So the year 2011 was a very significant benchmark in my life because at that point of time, I got my first exposure to a type of education which I had always dreamed about. If I'm not audible, please tell me, okay? So after ordinary schooling, when hailing to a very humble background, I joined Royal College. Now, Royal College is definitely a very disciplinarian college. Some people used to fear. I still remember some of my cousins did not join Royal College because they did not like the discipline of Royal College. But definitely, the discipline and the opportunities that Royal College provided shaped my personality to a very great extent, and I'm really thankful to Royal College. I will tell you how Royal College and the opportunities that it provided shaped my personality. It's just that the opportunities are always in front of you. You have to build on those opportunities. For example, I had the desire to develop the skill of public speaking. And mind it, apart from academic studies, the curricular activities that I undertook during my junior college and my graduation in Royal College, all these helped to shape my personality to an extent that I could do well throughout the phases of this UPSC examination, because there are three stages: the preliminary stage, the main stage, and the interview stage. At the interview stage, your personality is tested. How you well you speak, how well you are able to communicate your ideas, how well you are able to come up with a thought process that is good for the society at large, because you will become an administrator. So, in that process, Royal College definitely helped me very well. I used to participate in allocation competition because my schooling had not been very great. Uh, I was not good at speaking English. Yet, I would participate in elocution competitions, in debate competitions, in order to ensure that the qualities that I do not have right now, I shall develop those qualities so that they may help me in the future as well. So that I feel elated that yes, I possess this quality of public speaking. So there were opportunities that were presented to me during my college years. I actively participated in the competitions, in the skit competitions with my group. बहुत अच्छी मेमोरीज भी बन गई मेरे ग्रुप के साथ उस दौरान. और इन सब अपॉर्चुनिटीज को मैंने यूटिलाइज करते हुए अपनी स्पीकिंग स्किल्स, अपने राइटिंग स्किल्स को डेवलप किया. रॉयल कॉलेज की लाइब्रेरी वाज द मोस्ट फेवरेट प्लेस ऑफ माइंड. आई यूज्ड टू एवरी डे विजिट द लाइब्रेरी एंड रीड न्यूज़पेपर फ्रॉम अ वेरी अर्ली एज. So this habit of reading newspaper was also inculcated in Royal College itself. So I would say that Royal College played a very great role in shaping my personality and making me what I am today. The administration was also very supportive because I belong to a very humble background. In fact, many a times the very affordable fees of Royal College was very unaffordable for me and my family. At that point of time, Lakdawala sir came forward and allowed us to pay our fees in installments. So that was the kind of the support that Royal College and the administration provided me and my sister in order to continue our studies and become what we are today. Teachers like Momina ma'am, Parveen ma'am, Ravishri ma'am, Raju sir, and all the other teachers, Tabassum ma'am, Renu ma'am, and Sanchita ma'am, all the teachers were so motivating that apart from my parents' nudge of taking up a big dream of clearing the UPSC exam, the teachers also supported कि भले ही कोई भी बैकग्राउंड हो, हम्बल बैकग्राउंड ही क्यों ना हो आपका, आपके पास कोचिंग के लिए लाखों रुपए ही क्यों ना हो, लेकिन if you are seeing a dream, make sure that you work that much hard in order to achieve that dream. So the Royal College, its administration and its teachers had a very great role in building my personality, in building my conviction that yes, I can achieve this particular dream of becoming an IAS officer or an IPS officer or clearing this particular examination. After completing my graduation in Royal College, I was ready to face the world. I opted for, I was still not 21 years old, क्योंकि जब मैंने ड्रॉप आउट किया था स्कूल में तो उस वक्त ऐसा कुछ हो गया था कि आई वाज प्रमोटेड वन क्लास अप एंड हेंस व्हेन आई ग्रेजुएटेड आई वाज नॉट 21 years old, so I could not appear in UPSC examination, and hence I opted for a masters. So I did my ME from Mumbai University. There I got very good exposure to the outside world, to how research is done, to different fields of political science. So political science is a subject that is very close to my heart. And I took this very subject as my optional in UPSC as well. So I did my master's in political science from Mumbai University. There were a few teachers over there who were encouraging, who told me that I can go ahead after masters by full-fledged dedicating my hours, my time and energy for UPSC. And after my masters, I joined the Hajj Committee of India. It is in Churchgate. It provides free residential facility for the minorities. And that is how I landed in an atmosphere where UPSC, where there were many students like me who wanted to crack this examination. There, I went there, I gave my first attempt, but I failed at the preliminary stage itself. Now, that was very demotivating. Of course, I was not prepared. I knew very well that I am not very well prepared for the preliminary exam itself, leave alone the mains and the interview stage. Yet I gave this exam and I failed. I was very disheartened. But yet I continued with my father always motivating me to do not give up whatever happens. After that, I went to Delhi in Hamdard Study Circle. But after 4 months, lockdown was imposed. I came back to my home. My dreams, I thought that all my dreams are shattered क्योंकि अब लॉकडाउन लग गया है, अब मैं घर आ गई हूँ, मेरी पढ़ाई रुक गई है, ना वो एनवायरनमेंट मिल पा रहा है, और घर पर भी अपने ही चैलेंजेस थे, कुछ फाइनेंशियल थे, कुछ इमोशनल थे, जिस वजह से तो मैंने काफी उस दौरान मेंटल स्ट्रेस फील किया. And I would like to share at this platform that I also went through depression at that time. So there were also mental issues, financial issues in my families, जिसको overcome करना बहुत जरूरी था in order to move ahead in this examination. Amidst all these, I gave my second attempt at UPSC. Preliminary exam में again I failed. So for the second time मुझे बहुत बड़ा धक्का लगा कि मैं प्रीलिम से क्लियर नहीं कर पा रही हूँ तो मेंस और इंटरव्यू स्टेज क्या ही क्लियर कर पाऊंगी. तब मुझे लगा कि maybe I cannot afford to dream this big. I cannot afford to have this extraordinary dream of becoming an IAS officer or an IPS officer by clearing the UPSC examination. But my father was always supportive. उनको मुझ पर और मेरी कैपेबिलिटीज पर एक तरह से बहुत ज्यादा विश्वास था, जितना मुझे भी नहीं था उतना उन्हें विश्वास था. And he was very supportive at that point of time, and his words of motivation played a very good role in motivating me to continue with my studies, with my UPSC preparation, and go on to give my third attempt. After that, I gave the entrance examination of the Residential Coaching Academy of Jamia Millia Islamia University, and I could clear that entrance examination. So I went to Jamia Millia RCA in order to prepare for my third attempt. I stayed over there for 1 year or more than 1 year, and it was that year in which I could clear my prelims examination, mains examination, as well as interview examination. So that was the 2021. Uh, my result came very recently in on March 27th, and I could secure 386 rank in the All India rank in the civil service examination of 2021. So this is a brief glimpse of my journey, but the lessons that I learned from this journey are more important than mere facts about whatever I said right now. As I said, I had two failed attempts in my journey. At that point of time, I could have easily given up and settled for a very easy job, which could have fetched me 25 to 30,000 per month, like many of my friends were also suggesting me to do. There were many of my friends who said कि हम सब एम्प्लॉय हो गए हैं, अब तू कब एम्प्लॉय होगी, अभी तक तेरा पढ़ाई ही चल रहा है, तू तेरे सफेद बाल आने लगे. मतलब देयर वर मेनी पीपल हु वुड टेल मी कि रियलिटी को समझ, कब तक इतना बड़ा जो है एक आइडियल सपना लेके बैठेगी, सेटल फॉर द रियलिटी. But somehow I could not settle for the reality because of the fact that I would have regretted throughout my life that I would have settled for less at that point of time. So despite two failed attempts and the mental breakdown, I went on for my third attempt with my family support and gave this examination. At this point of time, there were many people who were demotivating me. Like there was one relative who used to say कि लाखों रुपए लग जाते हैं आईएएस एग्जाम के लिए, ऐसे ही थोड़ी कोई आईएएस आईपीएस बन जाता है, कोचिंग करनी पड़ती है. Then there was a professor in my university who used to say कि if you are not able to clear in two attempts, you have to rethink what you are doing in life. So these were very demotivating words that I would uh, receive from people. But again, there were many motivating people, like Momina ma'am would always motivate me. I used to go to her whenever I felt very much, what we can say, broke down in my life. And my parents, my father especially, he played a very good role in motivating me. So बहुत सारे financial issues के बावजूद he used to motivate me कि if you have dreamt big, beta, work for it. I am always there to just I will always be with you, and don't worry about anything else. So, with the support of my family and my teachers and all the values that Royal College had inculcated in me, I could secure All India rank 386. And very recently, there has been service allocation, and I have been allotted IPS, Indian Police Service, as my service. Cadre is still not being allotted, have been allotted, but service has been allotted. Now, after telling this whole story of mine, I would share with you a few lessons that I learned in this whole process, and I would like you people at this stage to imbibe those lessons, to learn from those lessons if possible. So dream big, and if you are dreaming big, also be ready to fail big, because if you are dreaming big, definitely you will make a lot of sacrifices and a lot of efforts in the process. And if you fail during that process, like I failed in my first two attempts in UPSC, those failures will also be very big. They will have a cost of their own. But then, even the failure in this process of dreaming big will enable you to learn a lot. You will become a much better person, a much more knowledgeable person in that process. So always dream big and don't fear any sort of failure in this process. Now, after that, take challenges as an opportunity. For instance, in my life, financial constraints and many other things were uh, big challenges for me. No good schooling, no good communication skills, no good English skills. When I entered Royal College, were the challenges on which I built. Because I had this fire in my belly कि मुझे एक better personality develop करनी है. शायद मेरे पास नहीं है वो personality right now. However, by participating in various events, by participating in various competitions, elocution competitions, skit competition, essay competition, I have to build my personality to an extent कि मैं उस लेवल तक पहुंच पाऊं जो लेवल मैं आइडियलाइज करती हूँ अपने माइंड में. सो चैलेंजेस को एज अपॉर्चुनिटीज लेना बहुत जरूरी है, एंड फॉर दैट यू हैव टू हैव दिस फायर इन दी बेली. मेरे पास और कोई और कोई ऑल्टरनेटिव नहीं था, rather than becoming trying to become perfect in what I am doing in my life. Then risk taking is another lesson that I learned through my journey. Because as I said, settling for a lesser thing, for a lesser job, would have been very easy for me. However, I took a very big risk. I had no financial, what we can say, कोई background support नहीं था मेरा किसी भी तरह का. And despite that, with the motivation of my family, I took a very big risk of dreaming big, of dreaming of becoming an IS and an IP or an IPS officer. And that is how, by this risk-taking attitude, I could think कि मैं भी ये कर सकती हूँ. So this, when you are dreaming big, risks लेने से कभी भी मुझे लगता है कि कतराना नहीं चाहिए. और इसके साथ साथ always try to come out of your comfort zone. My comfort zone was to be a bookworm and sit on the last bench कि मुझे कोई देखे ना, मैं बस अपनी पढ़ाई में मशगूल रहूं. That was my comfort zone. But during my college, I came out of that comfort zone because I had this particular thing in me कि नहीं, मुझे better public speaker बनना है, एक better writer बनना है, academically मुझे bright बनना है, academically मुझे अच्छा perform करना है to the best of my abilities. सबसे बेहतर नहीं, लेकिन खुद की एबिलिटीज के बेसिस पे जो मैं बेस्ट अपना दे सकती हूँ वो देना मुझे बहुत जरूरी है. तो अपने कंफर्ट जोन से बाहर आने कि जो मुझ में चाह थी और वो मेरे ख्याल से that I played a very big role in developing the skills that I needed in order to develop my personality for this examination. Because I'll tell you, this examination tests you in every way. It is not just the test of your knowledge that you gather in this process, but it also tests your perseverance, how you are able to persevere throughout this process. फेलियर्स देखने को मिल रहे हैं, लेकिन डिस्पाइट दिस फेलियर्स आप किस तरह से ओवरकम करते हो, आप किस तरह से गिव अप नहीं करते हो. These are all the qualities that are tested through this examination. So it's not just knowledge, but also your character, your perseverance, your conviction, your seriousness about your dreams that is tested in this particular examination. In fact, in any sort of big goal that you have in your life, all these quality will be tested, and UPSC is just one of those goals. So this is something that I learned from my struggles, that comfort zone से बाहर आना ही पड़ेगा if you want to achieve something in life. Now, the qualities that are needed to be inculcated for this examination uh, or for anything in life, for achieving anything big in life, are discipline. Discipline is very crucial क्योंकि अगर आप में डिसिप्लिन रहेगा तो आप किसी भी चीज को रेगुलरली करें. Hello.
Yeah, is it Mavis? Yeah, you are not seen? Yeah.
Am I audible, ma'am? Actually, there was a technical glitch, I think. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no.
Yes. So I was talking about the qualities that are needed in order to work towards any big dream that you think of. The first is discipline. You have to inculcate discipline in yourself in order to ensure that whatever things you are doing it with utter seriousness. Second is honesty. Honesty, maybe not with others, but most importantly, or be honest with yourself. For example, when I used to study for long hours each day, definitely UPSC में बहुत पढ़ना पड़ता है. जो हाइप बाहर मचा रखा है लोगों ने कि हाँ यूपीएससी में तो दिन दिन भर पढ़ना रहता है, वो बहुत ज्यादा है, बट डेफिनेटली पढ़ना तो बहुत पड़ता ही है. सो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज कि बी ऑनेस्ट विद योरसेल्फ. आपने क्या पढ़ा है, कितनी अच्छी तरह से पढ़ा है, कैसे किया है हर चीज को, वो ऑनेस्टी रखना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है अपने साथ वेन एवर यू आर वर्किंग फॉर एनी ड्रीम. देन दी अर्ज और दी एक्सेप्टेंस कि हाँ हार्ड वर्क हम करेंगे, ये भी बहुत जरूरी है. बिकॉज इन एनी फील्ड आई डोंट थिंक दैट सक्सेस हैज एनी शॉर्टकट. So working hard is something that a quality that we have to inculcate in ourselves if we want to achieve anything big. Then perseverance. You have to be to stick to what you have thought that you will do, and failures के होने के बावजूद give up नहीं करना है. I think that is the quality that with my family support also helped me in order to achieve what I could achieve. एंड देन कंसिस्टेंसी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. 2 दिन पढ़ाई करके या 2 दिन अपने ड्रीम की तरफ काम करके तीसरे दिन गिव अप कर देना, फिर 2 हफ्ते बाद फिर याद आया कि अरे हाँ वो करना था, ये चीज अवॉइड करनी है. Consistency is something that will be very important in order to achieve anything in life, I think. So my journey, my struggle, as the title of today's talk also says, is definitely from dreams to reality. Because I was really a dreamer in my childhood के क्योंकि मैं ऐसे बैकग्राउंड से भी बिलोंग नहीं करती थी कि जहाँ पर कोई सोचे कि यूपीएससी जैसा एग्जाम क्लियर करना है. सो इट वाज डेफिनेटली अ ड्रीम फॉर अ गर्ल लाइक मी. And with my family support and with Almighty's blessings, I could achieve this particular feat of clearing the UPSC examination. So it was definitely a dream for me. I faced a lot of challenges. And at this point of time, I would also say that I also faced a lot of mental challenges also. the stigma that is often attached to mental issues is something that I had to deal with. I am always open um, uh, about speaking, open in speaking about the mental issues that I used to face at that point of time. And I would also thank Rita ma'am for helping me for telling me कि ये बहुत ही नॉर्मल इशू है और इसके लिए प्रोफेशनल हेल्प लेने में बिल्कुल भी कतराना नहीं चाहिए. And that is how with family support, with teacher support, and with professional help, I could overcome the mental challenges as well. So the basic lesson that I learned throughout my journey, throughout my life, in which I could throughout my the life that I have led so far, is that challenges सभी की लाइफ में होते हैं. किसी की लाइफ में कम, किसी की लाइफ में ज्यादा. उसका नेचर डिफर कर सकता है. फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकते हैं कहीं, तो कहीं फैमिली प्रॉब्लम्स, कहीं मेंटल इश्यूज, तो कहीं इमोशनल इश्यूज. बट हाउ यू टेक दोज challenges and how you are able to build upon those challenges shows what is your character, and your character then will define where you will reach in your life. So challenges जो भी हो life में, always try to build upon them, always try to overcome them, and always be honest to yourself, and mm, honest to your family as well, and always dream big. I would say that never settle for less. If you have thought something very which is seemingly very impossible to achieve, no need to be bogged down by what your friends say, what your relatives might say. Just dream big, but also be ready to work hard, work that much hard in order to achieve your dream. Okay, so that is what I wanted to share. I don't know if I have done it well, but I would end with one poem that I used to listen on almost a daily basis during my preparation. And this poem in Mr. Amitabh Bachchan's voice would inspire me in order to get up each day, face the challenges that were set forth in this day, in the days in my life. So this poem was that मैं उस माटी का वृक्ष नहीं जिसको नदियों ने सींचा है. मैं उस माटी का वृक्ष नहीं जिसको नदियों ने सींचा है. बंजर धरती पर पलकर मैंने मृत्यु से जीवन खींचा है. मृत्यु से जीवन खींचा है. So I would like to end with this particular poem, and I am open to the questions that you people might be having. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mavish. This is Professor Farhan. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can.
When did you think about UPSC, doing your UPSC? And what motivated you to go for UPSC?
Sir, it was not me who first thought about UPSC exam. It was my father who motivated me at a very early age in my childhood कि बेटा collector बनना तो ये मेरा सपना है. My father used to say this particular thing to me. So this is something that inspired me from a very early age. And also, as I grew up, I used to read many administrators interviews in magazines, and I myself got inspired कि हाँ ये एक ऐसी फील्ड है जहाँ लोगों के लिए काम किया जा सकता है और अपने आप को भी बहुत strongly build किया जा सकता है as a person. So I got inspired by this field, sir.
How did you start your preparation in the earlier days?
Sir, I started my preparation with NCRTs. NCRTs are the very basic books जो कि सभी UPSC aspirants को पता होता है कि वो पढ़नी होती है in order to build a basic background and a basic knowledge. तो NCRTs बुक से मैंने स्टार्ट किया था और न्यूज़पेपर तो मैंने एक बहुत ही अर्ली एज से पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर दिया था. तो उस तरह से एक जो बैकग्राउंड नॉलेज जो है वो बिल्ड होती गई ओवर द ईयर. उसके बाद कुछ बेसिक बुक्स होती है. एक बुक लिस्ट है जो मैं अनुदीप बुद्धूरी शेट्टी का एक ब्लॉग है जो कि मैंने रेफर किया था और उसमें बहुत डिटेल में बुक लिस्ट उन्होंने मेंशन की हुई है. वो बुक लिस्ट मैंने फॉलो की थी. जैसे पॉलिटिकल साइंस के लिए एम लक्ष्मीकांत की बुक है, और इकोनॉमी के लिए शंकर गणेशा की बुक है। तो इन सब बेसिक बुक्स को रेफर करते हुए जो एरियाज है अलग अलग, पॉलिटी, इकोनॉमी, साइंस एंड टेक, एनवायरनमेंट, और इफ आई एम मिसिंग समथिंग आई डोंट नो, इन सब एरियाज को होलिस्टिकली कवर करने की कोशिश की बेस्ड ऑन सिलेबस। एंड देन प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन पेपर को एक बेस बनाकर उस ताकि मैं डायरेक्शन ना लूज कर दूं, so previous year question paper guided me that how UPSC asks questions and in which direction it can ask questions. So that is how, after gathering all the knowledge and studying the previous year question paper, I would appear in the examination, sir.
That's really inspirational, Mavish. Congratulations once again. And there are many more students
Thank you, sir.
in the faculty in our college who are preparing. There are many more young students right from the first year BA, summer in 12th, who are preparing for UPSC. We all look forward
Yes,
to for guidance. Hope you can prepare some structured guidelines for them, like how they can start, which standard books of NCRT 6, 7, 8, which class to take with. So if you can pen down something, it will be really great and really helpful for the students who are preparing. We look forward to you.
Okay, sir.
Thank
I'll
you
be
so
pleased to
much.
do that, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me, sir.
Farhan,
Yes.
there are some questions in chat box also. We'll take it up.
If you all can take up from there, it will be really great.
I am unable to see the chat box. Can you please read it for me?
I read out one question which has come. Can you hear me?
What were your
Yes, ma'am.
What should be the actual schedule for UPSC preparation? One of the students has asked.
Schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. See, the schedule depends on which stage you are in your academic life. For example, if you are doing your bachelor's, 2 to 3 hours daily for dedicated to UPSC preparation is enough. If after graduation you are preparing for UPSC, then 8 to 10 hours is something that you can dedicate in order to prepare for this particular examination. And at the end, you know, hours doesn't matter, but how much quality output you are able to generate during those hours is what matters at the end. For instance, जो पढ़ा है वो मेमोरी में सेट हुआ या नहीं, जो कंसेप्ट पढ़ा है वो अच्छी तरह से समझ में आया या नहीं, दैट इज व्हाट मैटर्स. So hours, the number of hours are secondary, and what is primary is कि जो कर रहे हैं वो कितनी अच्छी तरह से कर रहे हैं. स्केड्यूल भी ऐसे ही डिफर करता है. जैसे जब मैं फुल फ्लेज्ड यूपीएससी के लिए प्रिपेयर करती थी, तो आई यूज्ड टू बिगिन माय डे बाय स्टडिंग, बाय रीडिंग न्यूज़पेपर. उसके बाद मैं कुछ बेसिक बुक्स उठा लिया करती थी, उस पे अपने कुछ नोट्स बना लिया करती थी, फिर शाम को कुछ टेस्ट दे दिया करती थी, और फिर रात को जो भी दिन भर में पढ़ा उसको रिवाइज करके सो जाया करती थी. So that is how, at which stage you are also determines what will be your schedule and what will be the number of hours you will put in accordingly.
A student is asking which newspaper is best for UPSC.
See, it depends on what is your liking, but I used to refer to two newspapers, the Hindu and the Indian Express. Referring to any one of these newspapers is also enough, but because I had developed a speed of newspaper reading over the years, I could read these two newspapers on a daily basis. So these are the two newspapers from which you can select. But if you are from Hindi medium, for instance, your liking or your preference might differ.
Mavis,
Any
I
other
have
questions, ma'am?
1 minute. Which medium
Yes,
is
ma'am.
Sorry. Somebody
Yes, ma'am.
medium is
afterwards. You continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Continue, Professor Malika. You continue. I will ask afterwards.
Yeah, just 1 minute. I'm reading out the question again to you. Which medium is good for UPSC? Hindi or English?
Good evening, Malika ma'am. I think the medium in which you are comfortable the most is the best. जो भी मार्केट में बातें चलती है कि हिंदी मीडियम में मार्क्स नहीं आते या इस अपने वर्नाक्युलर मीडियम में मार्क्स नहीं आते, they all are, I don't think, have any basis. UPSC is a very what we can say a very good body which holds very fair process of examination, and so whichever medium you might opt for is good enough to score good marks, and hence just see your own comfort level with a language in order to select which medium to opt for UPSC examination.
There is a student who has asked how a middle class family aspirant should come up with financial condition. Coaching is very expensive these days. Mavis, if you don't mind, shall I answer this question?
Sure.
It is a question from one of the students, but I would like to just tell the students that she has mentioned in her talk how she achieved her goal. So if you just hear her once again, you'll definitely get an answer to the question that you have asked. Because coaching is no doubt very expensive, but she has shown a bit when she has mentioned how she went about it. So the student who has asked, please go through her. We have live streamed the whole talk on our YouTube channel, so she can refer to it. I think that would be the better answer.
Ma'am, can I add on to
Yes, sure.
on to what you said, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Coaching is not very fundamental for clearing this examination. Definitely, self-study can also enable you to achieve wonderful colors in this examination, because I never undertook any coaching. In fact, the residential coaching academy that I joined, there no systematic coaching is provided, but what they do provide is an environment in which you can interact with your seniors and learn from them, learn from their mistakes and the things that they did right. And that is the environment that I received from these academies, be it Jamia Millia RCA or the Hajj Committee of India. These are the academies that provided affordable residential facilities, and I could go over there and benefit from the environment. But at the end, I did clear this examination with self-study. So if I can, you can also. No need to worry if you don't have the money for coaching and everything. You can do it on your own.
A student has asked, how did you feel when you appeared for your final interview, exam interview? What emotions or what feelings you felt when you were appearing? One of the students has asked that question.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad someone asked this question, because I think the interview period was the most beautiful part of this whole phase of examination. So, in the days leading up to the interview, I was very nervous. Actually, I had committed a very big mistake of writing my medium of interview as Hindi rather than as English. So, I made that mistake, and that is why I was very nervous कि at the end मैं कैसे manage कर पाऊंगी और कैसे नहीं. तो बहुत ही नर्वस फेज था वो. बट देन ऑन द डे ऑफ इंटरव्यू आई फेल्ट वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट, आई वॉज वेरी इलेटेड, क्योंकि जो मेरा सेशन था, मॉर्निंग सेशन था इंटरव्यू का, उसमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ लड़कियां थी. I'm sorry, सिर्फ और सिर्फ लड़के थे. I was the only girl in that session. So that particular fact only, made me very excited कि मैं एक अकेली लड़की हूँ पूरे इस बैच में. And the interview went very nice, and I scored decent marks also. So the day was very wonderful for me.
I would just interrupt here. ये लड़की लड़कों की बात हुई ना. My question was that only. Did you find throughout your process of this UPSC exam what gender bias you have found? Because we know that there is a gender bias when it comes to recruitment. That is what we have heard. Huh? We don't know what it would be. But when you were doing your course, when you were doing all this, whether it is at Jamia or there at Delhi, what is your personal experience of gender bias for this particular UPSC IAS? That was my question. And
Ma'am,
nice.
unfortunately, sorry, ma'am, what did you say?
The gender bias. Did you find that
Okay.
males, like they feel that no, this is not the women's cup of tea. It is this all post only males should go. It is there. No, that is a gender bias. It is there only throughout. Now it is not there. Things are changing, but still it exists. So did you find
Ma'am,
that any of
yes.
like
Yes. Fortunately for me, ma'am, at the level of the academies which I joined, as well as at the level of the UPSC, I never came across any bias from their side. I did face bias among some of my peers who would see girls as less. Other than that, I did not face any. I did not see any kind of gender bias in UPSC or the academies that I joined. In fact, the academies that I joined were very cordial for women to enter this particular field and clear this examination and become administrators, ma'am. In fact, the Jamia Millia residential coaching is open for women, women, minorities, SC, ST. So I think that they provide preferential treatment to women in that sense. So I think times are changing, things are changing, and motivation and encouragement is being provided to women as well.
so? Can you tell the students how the girl students can join this Jamia and wherever you had gone, no, to Delhi, if at all their circumstances can allow them to go, what do you have to do to go there? Because that itself has helped you, no? That environment has helped.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if you
And there are annual entrance examination to these coaching academies. So there is an all India examination for each of these RCA, be it of Jamia Hamdard, be it of Jamia Millia or Hamdard Study Circle or even Hajj Committee of India. All these institutes hold all India examination, entrance examination, on the basis of which very fairly they select the candidates. Or they also hold an interview after shortlisting candidates on the basis of the written examination. So this is the process through which candidates can join these institutes.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we can just wait for other questions.
Sure, ma'am. I can see one question, two question in fact, that which optional is the best for opting in the UPSC examination. Again, depends on your own interest, because optional subjects, there are two papers for optional, 250 marks each, so total 500 marks का difference optional आपके पूरे marks में बना सकता है. इसलिए optional subject बहुत carefully choose करना होता है, depending on what are your interest, आपको कौन से subject में interest है, which subject you consider कि आप उस subject को अच्छी तरह से master कर सकते हो. I think depending on those parameters you have to select your optional. ऐसा कोई optional नहीं है कि जो UPSC ने earmark कर रखा हो कि best हो. You have to select your optional on the basis of your own faculties. And there is again one more question कि नोट्स कैसे बनाते थे. तो नोट्स मैं फर्स्ट सेकंड रीडिंग के दौरान नहीं बनाती थी. जब मैं बहुत अच्छी तरह से किसी भी किताब को पढ़ लेती थी, सेकंड रीडिंग थर्ड रीडिंग के बाद मैं नोट्स बनाया करती थी, सो दैट मैं हर चीज ना जॉट डाउन कर लूं और अपनी एक किताब ना बना लूं कहीं, क्योंकि नोट्स बहुत ब्रीफ होना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. इसीलिए जब 2 बार 3 बार एक किताब को आपने पढ़ लिया है अच्छी तरीके से, उसके बाद आपके माइंड में जज्ब हो गई है काफी सारी चीजें, लेकिन उसके बावजूद कुछ चीजें हैं जो आप भूल जाओगे या कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट जो आप भूल जाओगे, तो उन चीजों को शॉर्ट में नोट डाउन करना इज ए स्ट्रेटेजी जो कि आप नोट्स बनाने में फॉलो कर सकते हो.
One student was asked how to stay motivated after failure, because it is my third attempt in a competitive exam. Yes, you understood?
See,
That students.
yes, ma'am.
Third one. Okay.
See, staying motivated is very much important in this examination, and it is difficult as well. बट रिमेम्बर कि जब कुछ बड़ा सोचा है लाइफ में तो उसको अचीव करने के लिए बहुत बड़ी सैक्रिफाइसेस भी करने होंगे. सो डोंट काउंट योर अटेम्प्ट्स, जस्ट आइडेंटिफाई द मिस्टेक्स दैट यू मेड इन योर अर्लियर अटेम्प्ट एंड थिंक कि अगर ड्रीम बिग, हमने जैसा कि मैंने कहा था, इफ यू ड्रीम बिग यू माइट फेल बिग एज वेल, बट डिस्पाइट द फेलियर्स, एज यू कैन सी मी ऑल्सो, मैं भी 2 अटेम्प्ट के बाद थर्ड अटेम्प्ट में ही सक्सेसफुल हो पाई थी. तो ऑल द बेस्ट, आई विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट कि आपका जो थर्ड अटेम्प्ट है आप उसमें do wonders, but don't get bogged down by failures, because this is a tough process definitely, but not impossible. Okay.
So with this, we come to an end of the wonderful session. Now, on behalf of Royal College Minority Cell, I, Maria Ansari from from SYBSC, take this privilege to propose vote of thanks. I take this opportunity to express my deepest sense of gratitude to our guest speaker, Mavis, for giving us her precious time. It was indeed an inspiring session. I'm sure after hearing about her journey, you all must have realized that passion for learning and hard work is the only key to success. Once again, I would like to thank ma'am for sharing her experience with us and inspiring us. I would like to
Thank you for having me.
organizing such a wonderful session, and all my dear friends for joining. Thank you.
Thank you, Zainab ma'am, Malika ma'am, and everyone. Thank you for having me.
Mavis,